In this video, Daily Race A, it all gets very close, and some spinning. Daily Race B, we have penalties galore, as they all take it on the left-hand side. In Daily Race C, I get it a little bit wrong, and I hit key 25. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gran Turismo Weekly Race Guide here in 2025, week 16, and every single race we've got this week we have done before in Gran Turismo 7. Now you're probably going, Tidge, we've done race A? Yes, we have indeed, run it twice actually, believe it or not, but on two separate tyres, but we have done this tyre compound, and it is Autopolis in the Toyota GR86 or the Subaru BRZ. We're doing 5 laps, so a good amount of laps here. Sport soft tyres, and we have got the bop on. But you can apply the rear wing, of course, or liveries and etc. Make them look pretty cool in terms of the cars. Now, some of you may not like this car. It's very oversteering. You can jump to Daily Race B or Race C with those timestamps in the background, or the Daily Race A guide. You know, if you just want the lap guide, it's right there for you. You can also use that down in the YouTube bar below. We're sticking with this race then. Here are the key statistics. We've used this track 9 times in Gran Turismo 7. Track car combo twice before. I did talk about that earlier on. And we last used this track on the 23rd of September 2024. So quite a while ago was the last time. Now, there is lots of oversteer with these cars. Brake, when you brake, you hit, the front hits the floor, rear comes up, obviously makes it a bit unstable. You just have to be careful of that oversteer. It's also hard to overtake just because of the way the circuit is. However, you can have some good racing here. Without further ado then, let's jump straight into this race and let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are at the start. Grid start, then no false start check, which does mean foot to the floor and off you go. You don't have to worry about a penalty at all. Now, I would put traction control on 1 just in case you do get a tiny bit of wheel spin. Let's see how much we do get though here. Yeah, just the smallest amount, and we kick off this race. And 16 cars in this race as well. 4 more than normal for Daily Race A. And again, 5 laps. Good length to this race as well. So Gran Turismo having a brilliant start to the week here with Daily Race A. Hard on the brakes there. Very hard to see exactly where your brake marker is for turn 1. Everybody means so close here as we continue on through. One car has gone round there. We'll have cut that one in the bloopers. But even so, we're making progress here. Vicky, 5-second penalty there. They must have been involved in that incident as we head towards the next right-hander. I cannot see the braking point to save my life here. Trying to follow Blue Racer through then as we continue there then. So we gain another spot here over towards the left-hand side. We got that Space Cosmo. We're going to try around the outside of the Cosmo then as we continue then towards the sharp right-hander here, the hairpin at Autopolis. So we're on the inside of a Belgian driver. We should get that position. Happy days. We're up into P9 now then as we continue to the fast left. There's Max Power in the distance and Jack there ahead of them. Said they're a big fan, so hello to you, Jack. Shout out to you for a shout out in the lobby as well. And we will be racing Jack in a little bit when we get a little bit closer. But even so, Blue Racer first up as we head up towards this top hairpin. Very hard to get this one right when you are side by side. I'll try around the outside here. Is it going to work? Oh, Spanish driver off there towards the right side as we continue on. I don't gain a place from Blue Racer. I do from the Spanish driver off in the gravel. Now, you're probably wondering why I've got one of my headphones off. It's because the plumber's here. So I was listening out for the plumber and any questions they have. And they did ask me questions during this race as we continue on the inside of Blue Racer then as we go through here. Look at this. So close racing. Beautiful racing there. Blue Racer going to have the inside line then for this corner. And I will have to back out of it for now as we go into this right-hander then. And good racing so far. I did say there's good racing. Very hard to overtake, but some good racing, which is what we want in Gran Turismo 7. In my opinion, at least, anyway. You might want something different. I don't know. But we're going to head towards turn number 1 here. Blue Racer's got to run on Jack. I'm going to run on Blue Racer here as we head towards turn number 1. We're going to be 3 wide here. We go hard on the brakes, but I've gone a little bit too deep here. So try and release the brakes to get past everybody to not cause any issues. And I stay towards the left-hand side there to let them go. That's completely on me. My mistake. We all make them. Honest mistake there as we continue on then with this race. I'm going to catch up to Jack and Co here as we go into the right-hander. Jack gets it also wrong into the right-hander. And we are now in the thick of the action. 1 second penalty there for that corner cut on the inside. As we get a bit of a run here on Jack. Nowhere to go, though, as we head into this braking zone here. Very hard corner to get right now. I go a bit wide here. You can see how wide I get. It doesn't really work out. I do bring it back a little bit, though. Get a bit of a run on the exit of the corner. And as we continue on through here, Jack's gets the inside of the Belgian driver. And here we go. We've got another run on the start-finish straight. Now, going into turn 1 is a good overtaking spot here at Autopolis. It's just hard to get right because you can't see the apex fully. And we are side by side with Jack then as we head towards turn 1, very close towards the left-hand side here then as we go onto the brakes then. And are we going to get round the outside is the question. I try and send it around the outside. You can see that difficulty. Jack defends that then as we continue on through. However, Jack does have that 1 second penalty to take as we go towards the hairpin. This is another overtaking spot, but you have to be on the inside. To go around the outside there and get the position, very difficult to do. It really is. Anyway, Jack's going to stay towards the right-hand side. Good sportsmanship there from Jack. And we're going to get that position and go up into P8 then as we look in the distance towards the Belgian driver, getting all sorts of sideways through the right-hander. A little bit off the circuit. They come back on very nicely then. However, I was thinking, do they have dirty tyres or not? I wasn't too sure. But look at the run, the speed difference here. So we get alongside for the left, which gives us the inside for this right-hander. And we go up into P7. I was particularly pleased with that move, if I do say so myself. And you can see that in my reaction. So we go up into P7. We advance further on then. Lap number 4. We catch up to the Italian driver, Melon Doxon, who's got a classic Toyota livery on there as we continue on through here. Tried to get on the inside. Didn't quite work out then. They're going to get the better run out the corner. And you can see there they've got a rear wing on their car. Doesn't make a difference in terms of the performance of the car. It's just a visual effect as we go into the right hand. Look at that four-wheel drift they get going on there. Oh, they're off the circuit a little bit then. Off the circuit. That does mean dirty tyres. So can I take full advantage of that? That is the question. As we go into the left, gonna have to slow it down here. Where are they gonna go? Again, losing the rear end here, and they're gonna go out wide. So I'm gonna try and get on the inside then because they're understeering a little bit. Not gonna work out though, and I do have to lift off there. And you saw me lift off a little bit there. Otherwise, I would have pit maneuvered them and sent them to Narnia. Up in the distance, we've got Blue Racer fighting Handsome Frank as well. We could have been in that action. However, we did make that mistake earlier on. We got on the inside of them this time, though, the Italian. They were unfortunately drifting, so initially their grip came and hit me in the corner. So they do get the advantage back here, but we are in the slipstream as we start this final lap then. So I'm looking down the inside of the Italian driver. We're not quite got the overlap there. They go for the corner and they defend that position. However, we're looking to get the run on the exit then. We're still in the slipstream as we continue on. By the way, it's not livery. I have 2 extra exhausts on the back. I've just noticed that right now. It looks very weird. Anyway, we're going to head towards this right-hander then. And you get there. You may have seen it. I'm talking to the plumber once again as I go around the corner. I can actually turn and look in a different direction. How about that? Anyway, the Italian there, 0.5 second penalty as we go into the hairpin. So I should have this position all said and done. I just have to remain very close to them as they're oversteering through that corner. We're going to head towards the fast left-hander then. And I'm sort of looking here. They go defensive then. This is the final lap. They can go defensive, of course. They can force me into a mistake. It makes perfect sense for them to do this then as we continue on through here. And they go towards the left-hand side, making their intentions very clear here with their defensive line. Good racing so far with this Italian driver as we go onto the brakes, slowing it down. Nice here. Trying around the outside again. It doesn't really work. I tried to do a cut back there, but they defended that as well. Really good stuff. However, the penalty is going to kick in here. So they're going to go towards where they're going, left-hand side. I make it clear I'm going to the right. We do then get the position up into P6 we go. Of course it's P6. I didn't even notice what position we're in there. P6 is going to be. And that's where we're going to finish as well. A fantastic race in my opinion, this one. You saw some good racing that we had there. Different driver levels there as well. But yeah, fantastic stuff from absolutely everybody. And the score speaks for that as well. 8 out of 10. You can check out the full details down below. We do have a scoring system there. Well, let me give you a lap guide then. Let me tell you how to drive this car to the best of my ability and hopefully to the best of your ability as well. So we're going to head towards turn number 1. And we're looking for brake markers here. So on the right side, that's the one I'm using. We have a pole there. As it hits the edge of my screen, I'm going to hit the brakes. You can try and use the 100-meter board or the orange painted barrier, but it's a bit too far away. I think that lamppost on the right is the perfect brake marker. Of course, on chase cam, just bring it back a little bit and use that as a bit of a distance marker. We're going to go to third gear here, and as we release the brakes, the car rotates a little bit. Instantly on the throttle, it settles the rear end then, and we can continue out of the corner. So that's going to be the end of Sector 1. Very quickly, we go into Sector 2. So on the left-hand side, we have this escape road right here, okay? That is your brake marker for this right-hander. And you're going to do a similar thing to turn 1. You're going to go on the brakes, you're going to drop to third gear, and the car's going to want to rotate. Just try and control the oversteer a little bit, and honestly, it's just a lovely four-wheel drift that you will get. So here we go, fourth, down to third gear. Notice there, a little bit of oversteer as we continue on through. We're going to lift off now for this left-hander, clip the curb, then start accelerating, and then we'll lift off a little bit more, and then continue on through here. And as we get towards the hairpin here, you want to brake before you get to the end of the curb on the right-hand side. Literally, if you're braking as the curb hits the edge of your screen, you're going to go way too deep at the hairpin. You really want to slow the car down now. Again, it's going to get a little bit twitchy under the braking. Don't worry about it. Drop to second gear. Let the car rotate if it rotates a little bit. Notice I get a little bit of rotation. Instantly on the throttle. It gives it some grip. we can continue on out of the corner. But over towards the right side, we see the curb there. We start to turn in here. We're going to lift off a little bit, letting the car roll through the corner. And as that marshal box gets to the center of your screen, I want you to accelerate, but go to 4th gear. Now, I don't go to 4th gear straight away here. I lose some lap time. I highly recommend you do go to 4th gear at this moment in time. So, we're going to continue on through. You'll see my delayed gear change. As you see, still 3rd gear and then 4th gear. Notice the delay. If I was in 4th gear there, I could continue that acceleration, and actually I would have benefited from a quicker lap time. We head up here then towards the hairpin. On the right hand side, we've got the arrow right there. That is my brake marker for this left-hander. You could use the 50 or the marshal box if you want to. However, the arrow is my brake marker here, and as it leaves the edge of my screen, I'm going to hit the brakes. We're going to go towards the apex of the corner as well. So brake line, straight line braking. Head towards the apex a little bit now. Start to release as we get towards the apex. And start to accelerate in 2nd gear out of that corner. Now, downhill braking, it does mean it gets a bit more unstable than normal now for this next corner. But we have the usual brake marker we use for this one. On the right-hand side, we have that lamppost right there. So as it gets close to the edge of your screen, on the right-hand side, you're going to hit the brakes. I highly recommend you stay in 4th gear for this one. It will reduce some of the instability of the car. Some people will go straight to 3rd gear, which will cause a bit more oversteer. But 4th gear to me is a better gear to do it in. Notice there, it's a bit more stable, but you will understeer a tiny bit more. Now, as we get towards the end of this curb, notice I've dropped a gear, but not really hit the brakes. This is to cause a little bit of oversteer as I turn into this corner, and it will just allow the engine braking to slow the car down. I don't need to hit the brakes for this one. So, I literally drop a gear before the end of the curb, chuck it in, and let's see what happens here. Notice there, letting the car roll around 80 miles an hour, drop to 79, and then continue on through. Over towards the left-hand side then, lifting a little bit more, and we want to hit the brakes before we get anywhere near that curb on the right-hand side, okay? Once you're in a straight line, hit the brakes here. Let the car roll through the corner. Even if you brake a little bit early, just allow the car to roll a little bit, and you will be absolutely fine. That's what we're going to do right here then. So, as we go into here, car gets a bit of oversteer, not a problem. We bring it back a little bit now and start accelerating, staying in 3rd gear. We clip the curb on the left, we go towards the outside, and we bring it back with a little bit of a lift to allow the car to turn in. We're just using the throttle throughout all of this. We head over towards the left-hand side, start to turn in towards the right. Notice here, we've lifted off just before the inside curb hits the edge of my screen. This allows the car to just go through this corner. Again, slowing the car down nicely, allowing the engine to do all the braking. If we hit the brake pedal, the car will become unstable. I talked about earlier on where the front will just nosedive. I did dab the brakes a little bit there to slow the car down a little bit. I don't think I needed to do that personally. And you can see here, we've got an arm code, we've got an escape road. They are your accelerating markers. Now, I'm in 3rd gear. It's a better gear to be in here. If you're in 4th, it'll just bug down a little bit. So 3rd gear acceleration out of this corner, and then just a bolt towards the line. The car should be fine. It shouldn't understeer too much. Notice here, we can just straighten up straight away. Cut a little bit the inside if we want to. 4th gear, head towards the line. This is a 2-minute 1.8. You can follow this one on the leaderboard as well if you really want to. But that's it for Daily Race A. We jump to Daily Race B then, where I'm in that Nissan GTR. We're at Road Atlanta, if you can't already tell here. What exactly are we doing at Road Atlanta in Group 4? Well, we are doing 7 laps for another good length race here. Rolling start, racing hard tyres, and you can adjust that brake balance. I'm in the Nissan GTR in terms of the race. However, the lap guide you will see is the Huracan because it's the same brake markers from the last time we did it. So I'm going to use that track guide again. We've used the track 14 times. This track and car combo 6 times, so it's quite a common combo. It's not in the top 10 used it's just outside it. And we last used this track on the 13th of January. In terms of issues, track limits can be an issue here, and there are limited overtaking spots, mainly down to the chicane is your main overtaking spot, or potentially out of Sector 1. Entirely your choice, it's only if you get a run there at the end of Sector 1. Without further ado then, let's jump into this one and let's have a look at all the racing action, as well as some penalties. Right, who is in this race? We've got Prime Minister in pole position. Max Powerstone behind me in that Porsche Cayman. And we kick off here at the top of the hill back in P14. If you're enjoying this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. But we're going to kick off at this 7-lap race. Once we get closer, of course, with the rolling start, it does take a little bit of time to get closer. Up ahead, Shadow is on the inside of Sparks Fury then as we go into this right-hander. Aston Martin looking very well at the moment in Group 4. There's a couple of them in this particular race. The Huracan used to dominate this one, of course. Not so much anymore. It's still competitive, but the GTR... my word, it is another level versus that Huracan. And we're seeing that right here then, as I'm in the slipstream of Sparks Fury. So we get on the left-hand side of Blue Racer. We're already past Blue Racer. We're already past Sparks Fury now. And we're actually catching Sparks as well. Oh, sorry, Shadow here as we head in towards the chicane. We're already past Sparks. Shadow right there. Let's get back into the swing of this racing then as we continue on through. Mario Sonic there with a 1 second penalty in the distance, as it has Simo as well. So that's 2 people with 1 second penalty. Penalties are a part of the problem with this race, but arguably they're fair penalties. It is for track limits, and they are breaking track limits. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the lap guide then. So they head towards left-hand side. Good sportsmanship there from Simo, Mario Sonic, and we've also got a Hungarian driving there, Buddha, actually having a penalty. So that's 3 positions on 1 straight. We are moving up this field very nicely. And the great thing about this race is because it's so long, it doesn't feel like I'm having to really grasp at every single position very quickly. I can actually make decisions about when and when not to overtake. So we're going through this right-hander right now, and we're catching Shadow quite quickly. Now, some people on a very sprint racy, they'll go on the inside and go for this move. But you know what? I back out of this and I'll go, I've still got a long way to go in this race. Up ahead, we've got somebody with a 1 second penalty. That's Bilson as we continue on through here. But I'm only 4 seconds off the lead here. There's a potential of a race victory. Let's see what we can do. You know, we can make good decisions. Whereas in a very short race, you'll make rash decisions. I make rash decisions. You know, I've got to try and gain as many positions as possible a little bit quicker. Not in this one. It's a good race length. So in towards the left we go then. Bilson's got it all sorts of wrong, and I'm having avoiding action once again from Bilson. 2 weeks in a row, Bilson. What's going on, mate? All good though as we continue on here. Prime Minister there, 1 second penalty I assume here. Dropping down the board there, was leading at one point, now down to P7 for them. We're up into P6 here as we get towards the end of lap 4 and continue on through here then. As we advance further on then, we've got Kaz up ahead. If you're wondering where Shadow disappeared to, once again, penalties. If you see someone disappear off my screen, it's a penalty. Now, we've got Kentish Gent with a 1 second penalty. We've sort of boxed Kaz in here then as we continue on. And this GTR, a little bit quicker than that Aston Martin in a straight line as we head down towards the chicane. Are we going to get this done and dusted is the question? Yes, we are. Up into P4 we go. And up ahead is the fight for the lead. So we potentially are going to get in that fight as we continue over the crest of the hill. We do have to defend from Kaz, though, the finish driver behind, as we go through the right-hander and start lap number 6, the penultimate lap. We get a bit of a bump draft there, which does help us out. We've also got the fastest lap here as we go into lap number 6 now, and in towards the right we go then. Ted up ahead. Oh, Ewan's just made a mistake there. Looks like a little bit of oversteer. Goes into the barrier, tries to recover it, still stays in the barrier. Up into P3 we go then, and we are not far off the lead at all. Unfortunately, not enough time to catch up to Hoggy or Ted. Well played, Hoggy, on that race victory. Really well done there. And we come on with P3. But it feels like a good length race at 10 minutes. And guess what? The score represents that. I think this is the best daily race of the week, personally, in my opinion. So I would recommend anybody just jump into this one to have some fun. How do you do Road Atlanta then? This is obviously an older lap guide where the Huracan was top, but it's still the same brake markers, which is why we're using this. So on the left-hand side here, we have the end of the wall, or arguably you can do where there's a gap there in the wall. I do the first brake marker here in the GTR as well, and you can follow that lap on the leaderboard. That's a 1:23.9. So when that wall gets to the edge of my screen, I hit the brakes, and I want to turn into this corner. Now in the all-wheel drive cars, you can just accelerate through, and they will just keep on turning, as you see right here. Now on the right-hand side there, we have this Marshall box. This is your lift-off marker. You don't have to accelerate all the way to the next corner. You want to stabilize the car here, especially as we go to a crest of a hill. So I recommend here lifting off at that Marshall box just to allow the car to steady up and you can get the right line. So there you go. And then we have 3 brake markers. On the left, we've got the billboards. On the center, we've got the sector or line split there. And on the right, we've got the orange tires. Highly recommend you use the billboards, if I'm honest with you. They are really helpful. Or the tire wall. The lines can help, but, you know, you might miss them sometimes. So breaking a straight line, we lift, we turn in, we accelerate through here. Instantly go towards the left-hand side. Allow the weight transfer to really shift the car to the left. Then over towards the right. Avoid doing that little bump in the curb there. That will cost me some time on this particular lap. Just take it nice and easy through there. The curb will bounce you off. Now, as we get to this point here, very hard corner to get right. You have the billboard if you want to use that. I would just use the curb as it goes straight, and I will brake early for this one. It's very easy to try and brake late and really chuck the car in. Brake early, allow the car to turn in. It will understeer a little bit and just bolt through the corner. Now, on the exit, you have to be careful there. That's where all the track limits are. So you can stay on the little thin bit of yellow and blue curbing, but if you go onto the wider bit, you will get a penalty, so just keep that in mind. As we head to this double right then, we've got the piece of tarmac on the right-hand side where it grass to tarmac. This is my brake mark for this right-hander. Now, I would go down 2 gears for this. 3rd gear in most cars is normally what you expect here. Sometimes in other cars, it'll just be 1 gear, but I would go down to 3rd gear, and I do that in the Huracan here. So the second I hit the curb, I accelerate through the corner. Now, there's a kink in the curb there. You can see it right now, okay? As it just kinks towards the left and carries on. That is your brake marker for this right-hander. I highly recommend you brake early for this corner as well. You want to be aggressive on the exit, not on the entrance. If you are aggressive on the entrance, you'll lose all the time on the straight. So turn in and instantly hit the throttle and accelerate out of the corner. You can now chill a bit here as we head towards the final corner, the final brake marker that you have to really worry about here at Road Atlanta. On the right side, we have the 200 board and the billboard there. Brake in the middle of those. So if you are struggling and braking a little bit late at the billboard, brake at the 200 board. If you want to brake a bit later, brake towards the billboard. These are your 2 markers. They're very obvious as you are racing, and that's what I'm going to use right here. Now, you do have to be careful about cutting the corner here, especially the first part, so make sure you stay on the curb. Over towards the right, don't cut too much on the inside. There's a bit of a bounce there that will trick you out wide, but make it through like I do right there. You can head towards the line. Keep for a tight line for a little bit quicker lap time if you want to do that. This lap time's a 124.3, but I have a 123.9 on there with a GTR if you want to check that out. We jump to Daily Race C then, where we head to Deep Forest Raceway, a very common combo in a very common category of car, the Group 3s. Now, we're doing 14 laps here. It's a rolling start. We're using racing, medium, and hard tyres. Both are required. ×2 fuel, ×7 tyre wear, and you can adjust that brake bounce. As you can see in the background, I am using the Toyota Supra because that was what was best last time we were here. Of course, we have had a bot change. And in terms of the key statistics for Deep Forest, we've used the track 14 times. 6 times for this track and car combo. It's just not in the top 10 used combo, surprisingly, but it's very close to that. And we last used this track on the 17th of February. Of course, we've used it very recently. There are limited overtaking spots here at Deep Forest Raceway, mainly the last corner and the first turn, and it's just very hard to do. Be careful of any dives in towards these corners as well. Without further ado then, let's jump into this one and let's have a look at exactly what happens, as well as the strategies you can use. Here we are then at the start. Brabadana in a pole position in the Lexus. We've got a Porsche up there as well. Mixture of cars for this one. I still think the Toyota Supra is going to be strong in the race, but we will see. If you enjoyed this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content as we head towards turn 1 here at Deep Forest. So you have to use racing hard and racing medium tyres at some point in this race. As I always say, if you start towards the back, it may be better to use the harder compound of tyre, just so that you don't waste the softer compound later on when you've got a bit more clean air and you're not in the thick of the action. As you can see right here, it is all very close indeed as we go through there, and you do lose a lot of time when you're in the thick of the action. Now, Deep Forest is very good for this, getting racing action. Lots of long straights, slipstreams there, and the Italian decides doesn't want any more of that and go straight in for the lap 1 strategy. We'll see how that plays out later on in this video as we go towards turn 1. They get very close towards Key and Marisonic as we go through this left-hander then and continue on out of here. So you can see again, losing time here to the cars ahead just because we're all fighting very much in the thick of the action. I enjoy this though personally, you know, I don't always want to win all the time. I just want a bit of fun racing, and this is what this is about here, especially for the first Daily Race C of the day. So we continue towards the end of the lap then as we go towards the left-hander. Slight tap there from Max Power, who got hit from behind as well. Nothing major there. It's just that people are so close to each other, you have to hit the brakes earlier, and some people can get that wrong. So as we head towards here then, I go for the lunge down the inside here, looking to try and get it stopped. I just misjudged it a little bit. Slightly tapped Key there. Completely on me, that one. However, Key didn't lose too much time. Blue Racer manages to stay ahead as well. I wouldn't take that position from Blue Racer, in my opinion, just because I sort of forced a bit of the issue, which is why I stay behind Mario Sonic right now to make sure that I'm not getting an advantage from that small contact. Should I have gone for the lunge? There's no harm in doing that. I did get it slightly wrong, misjudging the cars ahead, so that is completely on me as we head towards turn 1. Though we're back in the fight here with Mario Sonic. I go towards the right-hand side here, again, getting very close to the back of Blue Racer, but I'm trying to go for an outside line here to try and get the position from Mario Sonic, and we do get a better exit here than the British driver as we head in towards the right-hander. Then they back out of this. Very hard to go side by side into that corner, and we do get the position. Then up into P12 we go, but we're still in the thick of the action, which is the main part of this video. So towards the end of the back straight then, here we go. Looking on the inside of Blue Racer once again, going for that lunge down the inside. We do get it stopped the apex this time. A much better effort from myself. However, Blue Racer nails the exit here, and we do not gain the position then as we continue on here on lap number 3. About to start lap number 4 then, and you can see here we're all in slipstream right now. Everybody goes towards the left-hand side here. Hard on the brakes we go then as we go into here. Norman there slows it down on the inside, so Blue Racer's gone for the outside line. I'm trying to follow Blue Racer. Norman gets it slightly wrong on the exit, so we're going to continue around the outside and get a position, and up into P11 we go as we continue towards the middle section of Deep Forest where nothing happens. We get towards the end then here, and I was thinking about lunging again, but this time I didn't go for it. And you see there, everyone got very close behind. Very common thing to happen. You are going to have to watch your mirrors here to take avoiding action where necessary. People will make mistakes. Saw me make one earlier. People will make mistakes. You have to remember that. This is a racing game. People play this for fun. Mistakes will happen. So I come into pits on lap number 4. Felt like I was losing too much time. Felt like I could make the medium tyres last until the end of the race. Let's see if it works out or not, because I have come in very early indeed. No need to refuel the car. I just changed my tyres. Now, if you want a brake marker for turn number 1, as we see the Italian in the distance, on the right side there, we have the 50 board. Just use that as your brake marker as you leave the pits, and you should make the corner absolutely fine, okay? So nice, easy 50 board on the right-hand side. So that's what we're going to use as we go into the brakes and go into this corner. So the Italian there, 4 seconds up the road, really, from their very early pit stop. Let's see what we can do in terms of catching that up. So the very next lap, a lot of people go in the pits. There's Marasonic, there's Blue Racer, and we do get ahead of everybody here. So that has helped us with a bit of an undercut. We'll see how much so later on when the tyres start to wear down. So we go towards the end of lap number 6. Here comes Blue Racer. Stayed with me in the slipstream. Goes for a bit of bump drafting. Using some strategy here, Blue Racer. Going, do you know what? We've got to catch other people here in terms of the strategy. We've both pit early. So let's bump draft. Let's try and catch up to everybody else. Now we've got the Italian that we are catching now up ahead. Damien's just been in the pits as well. We're on lap number 8 right now. And once again, it's all about strategy, not being in traffic for too long here. Now, I did make a mistake at the hairpin. You notice Blue Racer went out wide to come back here. So I know Blue Racer's going to go for the move this time as we head towards turn 1. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to lift off here and let Blue Racer go. I don't want to lose too much time here. So a couple more people come out the pits. They're going from the mediums to the harder compounder tyre, which does mean we are going to catch them as well. Marasonic just behind here. Key stayed out a bit longer there on the harder tyre. Has lost out in a few positions. And that's a strategy decision that you have to make. Do you want to go for the overtakes again later on in the race, or do you want to try and go for the undercut? Unfortunately for me, I am stuck in a bit of traffic here with the harder runners now, Sparks Fury, and I think that's Bigfoot up ahead as well. It's going to slow us down in the middle sector. Marasonic on the left-hand side here, going for that move, but once again, heading towards this right is so hard to go side by side here. Marasonic does back out of that as I have the inside line as we go into the right-hander. You can see Blue Racer there being held up by Bigfoot. I'm just slowing it down a little bit here, trying not to get so close to them, but it does cost us time, and guess what? Everybody behind starts to catch up, so they've got fresher tyres than me. I've got to keep that in my mind now as we continue on lap number 10 here through this left-hander and head towards the back straight. I do have to brake early again here just due to the harder runners up ahead. So we boost it out of this corner. Bigfoot tries to boost it. Unfortunately, a whole load of motion here. Well caught, though. Really well held there, Bigfoot. And we do have a run on Sparks here. The Toyota Supra is so good for this. This is why I'm in this car right now. It's good for overtaking here at Deep Forest. So we send it down the inside then. We do get it stopped on the inside. And we're up into P9 right behind Blue Racer. So hopefully we can use Blue Racer's slipstream and the Blue Racer's fresher set of tyres to just maximize our time here. Keys caught up to us at this moment in time. Much fresher medium tyres on that car. We've caught up to some more hard runners here, as well as the medium runner of the Italian who pitted on lap number 1. Remember that. Key goes down the inside there, gets 3 positions. That is a good move and a half there from Key as we continue on. I was going for the outside line, which didn't work out at all, and we have dropped back here. But we do have 2 penalties here of Blue Racer and Villa. So hopefully we can get both of these positions and then get back right in the fight. However, we will have worn tyres. So we're going down to lap 13, 2 laps to go. We go towards the inside line then here. As you can see, everybody very close as we go in towards turn number 1. I was looking down the inside there. I think that slight tap Villa may be there. However, the Italian up at the leader of this pack is going to be struggling now. It came in so early on those tyres. So both of the Brits there are going to take their penalties. We'll get the 2 positions. And you can see Key going for the move on the McLaren up ahead then as we go onto the brakes, slowing the car down. It does mean we should have a good chance on this last lap to try and get the Italian, because they will struggle in that middle sector, and then hopefully we can use the slipstream. So we head towards turn number 1 here. Look in that rear view mirror. Side-by-side action absolutely everywhere. This is what Deep Forest normally ends up like on the final lap with a strategy as well. So we're going to head in towards the middle sector here, and they're still side-by-side behind. Little contact between between the two. And that does allow me to escape a little bit here. Now, the Italian up ahead just continues on into the barrier. At first, I thought that was the front tyres going. However, we'll have a look in the bloopers exactly what happened there as we continue on through this lap. And we head towards the end of the race and we come home in P5. So notice different strategies. Key pitted much later, still only just ahead of me. Had to regain those positions. I pitted early, but I lost out due to traffic. So traffic and when you pit is critical to this race. I do like this race. It is a common combo, but there's a reason for that. Right, how do you do Deep Forest? I've redone this track guide because the cars in Group 3 have had a bit of a bop nerf here in terms of power and speed. So as you head towards Turn 1, 3 brake markers you can use. On the left, a car. On the right, the start of the curb, as well as the 100 board. Pick and choose whichever one suits you. Of course, depending on your tyre, may change brake markers. So harder pop out of tyre, you might have to brake a little bit earlier. So as we come into here, we trail brake all the way through the corner. And then when we see the orange painted barrier right there on the exits, we want to start accelerating because that is our accelerating marker. We see that, we go, okay, we're near the end of the corner. Let's boot it. Let's gain a couple of miles an hour. Let's use the extra downforce in the car. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. So we accelerate out. Don't go too wide there. There are track limits in terms of that curb. We head over towards the left-hand side. Now, on the left, we've got this fencing. The start of the fencing is your turn-in marker. You may want to lift off and turn in, depending on the car, of course, and how you feel in terms of this corner. You want to cut a lot of this corner on the inside because it'll give you a nice line then for the next corner that we are going to approach. So I'm going to turn in here. Notice I lift off there. Didn't cut it too much, so I'm a bit further to the left than I really want to be. That means that I'm having to brake a bit earlier. I am using the grass to the concrete as a brake marker, but because I'm a bit more to the left, I am having to slow the car down a bit. It did cost me some lap time here. So I'm going to dab the brakes here, and I want to use the curb on the left-hand side. Be careful of those sausages, though. And then when we're in a straight line, we drop a gear and go to second. We then accelerate through the corner, and at the end of the tunnel here, where the concrete is, or the end of the curb, is our next brake marker for this right-hander. Now, this is a very long right-hander, so trail braking is kind of critical for this corner. You want to carry the speed, but slowly slow the car down. You don't want to hammer on the anchors straight away. So I'll have a look at my braking here. Notice that it doesn't go above 50%, and then I'm looking for the tunnel there, the entrance to the tunnel. So you can use the red sign or you can use the entrance to the tunnel, which I've highlighted, both of them there. Your choice, really. I think on chase cam is only the entrance to the tunnel that you can see, as you can see right there. So that is your main focus here. So I start to accelerate. Now, because we've got lower power in the Group 3 cars now, they don't oversteer as much in the front edge of rear-wheel drive cars, so you can accelerate a bit early and a bit more aggressive. As we get to this long left-hander, as the curb intrudes into the track that much there, the most, literally, as I get to that point, I'm going to dab the brakes, third gear, chuck it in. I want to really chuck the car left. I can't see the corner, but then I can start accelerating very quickly through the corner. Now, your next brake marker, there's 3 of them. You've got the rock on the left, the center of the bridge here. So you notice how it goes from tarmac to concrete bridge, or the arm coat to a nice little fence panel for the bridge there as well. Your choice in brake markers here, but you want to brake in a straight line for this corner. So I brake in a straight line, I release the brakes, I turn in. The second I clip that curb, I accelerate. Now, once again, because these cars have reduced power, you can be more aggressive on the throttle. So really just nuke that throttle the second you touch the curb. Now, on the exit, I've just highlighted it right here. Stay on the red and white curbing and you won't get a penalty. If you go over the red and white curbing, you will get a track limit penalty. So just keep that in mind. We head towards the hairpin then, the final corner you really have to worry about here at Deep Forest. And we have the camera structure right there that you can use. Alternatively, you can use the catch fence. And that's what I use here in the Toyota Supra Group 3 car. So when that catch fence gets towards the edge of my screen, that is when I'm going to hit the brakes. I want to brake in a straight line all the way down to second gear. And then to first gear to turn in. And instantly we want to go on the throttle. Notice a short shift to second there to avoid any power oversteer. And the reason for that is that even though we've got reduced power, there's still a bit there in first gear because there's no downforce. So just keep that in mind. We go towards the bloopers then here. We're going to head towards turn 1. We're on board Victoria here then. What actually happened for them to get a 5-second penalty? So the Belgian driver just taps Maori there. Unfortunately then, Victoria had nowhere to go. Taps Maori a bit more. And for me, they do not deserve this 5-second penalty. So my recent video about Sophie dealing penalties, that'd be telling Sophie, you got this wrong. Maybe could have fixed it. Now look at that from Max. Bit late on the brakes, about to hit Hanson Frank there, takes avoiding action. Beautiful sportsmanship here from the Spanish driver. Really well played to you there. We'll jump to the next one here. We go to Daily Race B. What actually happened to Bilson then as we go up here? They're going to go on the brakes. Oh, slightly turning on the brakes in the GTR. A little bit of oversteer. Good return to circuit there as well. You know, I did joke about, me being compromised again, but it's just a joke. You know, you did all the right stuff there, Bilson. Really well played to you. We go to Ewan then here, and this is the double right-hander at Road Atlanta. So as we go into here, what happens? Goes, oh, clips the grass, which unsettles the car. Now, Ewan's trying to come back on the circuit. Bit of wheel spin into the barrier. Now, Ewan's going to get this really awkward thing where you get stuck on the barrier. So, Ewan's going to full throttle, and guess what? The barrier keeps you stuck to it, so you lose a lot of positions there. That is very unfortunate, Ewan. You're having a fantastic race. Now, we go to Daily Race C. This was the Italian driver. What actually happened to them? They still have tyres, believe it or not, even though they're pitting on lap number 1. So, it showed you strategy is very key to this race. However, as is clear there's no inputs at all. That is a disconnection from the race, which is unfortunate to see after a fantastic race by the Italian driver. If you have enjoyed this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. That is going to be it for me now, though, folks. Now, if you're after some new equipment, Fanatec, link in the description. GT Amiga, you want a new wheel stand? Use code Tidgney at checkout, or Coach Dave Academy if you're looking to improve your laps. 2 videos there to check out. A massive thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.